I trace the rim of my water glass with my index finger, watching the light refract through my mother's prized crystal. The Blake family dinner table all mahogany, and superiority stretches between us like a battlefield. Mom's silverware gleams under the chandelier, each piece positioned with military precision. Andrew leans back in his chair, swirling his third glass of Cabernet. So the merger finally went through, he announces. The partners are bringing me on as junior executive counsel, starting salaries north of 300. Dad's eyes light up. He reaches across to clap Andrew on the shoulder. That's my boy. Mom beams, dabbing the corner of her mouth with her linen napkin. We're so proud. The Harrisons were just telling us how Thomas is still trying to make partner at his firm. I feel their eyes shift to me, like predators evaluating prey. How's your little project going, Madison? Dad asks, the word project hanging in the air like something foul. We just secured a new contract, I say, keeping my voice even. The client's under NDA, but it's significant. Dad's gaze slides off me, unimpressed. He cuts into his prime rib, dismissing my words without a single one of his own. Mom straightens, her face brightening. Did you hear Olivia Park made senior vice president at Goldman? Her mother mentioned it at the club yesterday. 32 and already running their Asia division. She looks directly at me. You two were such good friends at Harvard. We weren't. We took exactly one class together. That's wonderful for her, I reply. Dad sets down his knife and fork, leveling his gaze at me. When are you going to stop playing entrepreneur and get a real job, Madison? There it is. I knew it was coming, but the familiar sting still catches me off guard. Andrew chimes in, his voice dripping with artificial concern. You're almost 34, Maddie. Still working out of that garage? My hand tightens around my water glass. I fight the urge to correct him. It's not a garage anymore. It hasn't been for months. Not that they've bothered to visit. Instead, I glance at my watch. 8:59 p.m. Just one more minute. My mind drifts back to 4 years ago. I see myself in tailored navy blue, hair pulled back, standing in the gleaming conference room of Preston and Mitchell Consulting. The PowerPoint slide behind me detailing the critical security vulnerability I'd discovered in their client's banking system. This could compromise millions of accounts, I'd explained, pointing to the code I'd isolated. The CTO had leaned back, arms crossed. Stay in your lane, Blake. We hired you for implementation, not system architecture. 2 weeks later, I'd walked out of their offices with my personal items in a box and my resignation letter on my boss's desk. I'd left behind my 6-figure salary, the corner office, and any last illusion that corporate America would ever value what I had to offer. She's throwing away everything she worked for. I'd overheard Dad tell Mom that night on the phone. When I sold my Mercedes to fund the first round of server equipment, Dad cut off my access to the family investment accounts. If you want to act like a rebellious teenager, I won't fund it. When I mortgaged my condo to make payroll during month 7, Andrew had shown up unannounced at my door. I've got a great therapist, Maddie. This midlife crisis is getting out of hand. Every holiday became an exercise in deflection. Let's not discuss Madison's situation, Mom would say whenever relatives asked about my work. Gradually, I stopped mentioning Blake Cyber around them. I built a new family for my small, loyal team people who believed in what we were creating even when the code failed and the midnight oil burned low. 3 phones ping in perfect unison. 9 p.m. I watch the color drain from my father's face as he reads the notification. Mom fumbles for her reading glasses, squinting at her screen. Andrew freezes, wine glass suspended halfway to his lips. The Bloomberg headline glows on their devices. Tech startup Blake Cybersecure's multi-million government contract. Valuation hits $750 million. I lift my glass of water and take a slow, deliberate sip. The ice clinks gently against crystal as chaos erupts around me. Madison, what is this? Dad's voice cracks on my name. Mom's hand trembles as she scrolls through the article. $750 million? That can't be right. Andrew sets down his wine with enough force to slosh red liquid onto the pristine tablecloth. You closed the Pentagon contract? That was your NDA? I simply nod, placing my glass back on the table with precision. What would you do if your family spent years mocking your dreams only to discover you'd built something worth more than they could imagine? Stay with me, because my response will leave you speechless. The silence fractures like thin ice. This must be a mistake? Dad's voice cracks, his fingers trembling as they grip his phone. I take another sip of water, letting the moment stretch. The crystal catches the light, sending prisms dancing across the pristine tablecloth. No mistake. My voice is steadied, voice I use in boardrooms with skeptical investors. The Pentagon contract came through last week. We beat out IBM and 3 other major security firms. Mom fumbles with her reading glasses, tapping frantically at her screen. 750 million? That can't possibly be right. The valuation's actually conservative, I say, setting down my glass. We turned down JP Morgan Chase's buyout offer last month. Andrew's eyes narrow, his wine forgotten. What was the offer? 900 million. I keep my tone casual, as if discussing the weather. It didn't align with our 5-year plan. Dad's face performs a complex transformation shock dissolves into calculation. Disbelief hardens into opportunity. I've seen this expression in negotiations. It's the look of someone reassessing your value mid-conversation. Sweetheart, this is extraordinary. Mom's already reaching for her phone. I must tell Caroline at the club. She was just saying how her son's tech venture folded last quarter. Your mother and I always knew you had potential, Dad says, leaning forward. His voice drops to a conspiratorial whisper. You know, I could help manage some of this. The tax implications alone will be substantial. Andrew reaches into his suit jacket and slides a business card across the polished mahogany. You'll need a financial advisor now, someone who understands family wealth. I pick up the card, Andrew Blake, Wealth Management Partner. The logo of his firm gleams in embossed silver. I turn it over in my fingers, remembering the email I received 6 months ago from an investor who had heard concerns about my company. Interesting, I say, standing slowly. The chair scrapes against the hardwood floor. I've been wondering why Kiernan Capital pulled out of our Series B round at the last minute. Dad's eyebrows lift. Madison, sit down. We're celebrating your news. The partner at Kiernan mentioned that someone close to me had warned them off. I look directly at Andrew, whose face has gone perfectly still. They said my own brother told them to avoid my crazy sister's doomed project. Andrew's throat works. That's I never. You told your entire network to blacklist me. My voice remains level, factual. You called my CTO and told him he was making a career-ending mistake. Mom's tears start the practice. Elegant kind that never smudge her mascara. Madison, please. Your brother would never. Your exact words to the Hansons last Christmas were that I was having an embarrassing midlife crisis. I turned to her, recalling every cutting remark. You told Mrs. Parker one was playing businesswoman when she asked about my company. The tears transform, becoming something real and raw as the truth lands. Dad pushes back from the table. Now wait just a minute. We've always supported. You cut me off financially when I sold my car to buy servers. I interrupt. You told Grandma I was throwing away my education when she asked why I missed Thanksgiving. My phone vibrates with a text. I glance down. Alex, CTO. Did you tell them yet? A small smile touches my lips. Alex, who turned down Google to work out of that garage. Maria, who coded for 36 hours straight when we were racing to patch the vulnerability that put us on the map. Raj, who sold his motorcycle to help us make payroll during month 5. My real family. I remember last Christmas eating takeout Thai food on the floor of our first real office, while my parents and Andrew posted photos from Aspen on Instagram. Where are you going? Mom asks as I collect my purse from the sideboard. Home, I say, meaning the converted warehouse where my team is waiting to celebrate. Not this mausoleum of familial disappointment. Madison. Dad's voice hardens into the tone that once made me flinch. Don't be dramatic. We've always believed in you. I pause at the entryway, fishing something from my bag. The house key they gave me when I turned 16 glints under the chandelier light. I place it deliberately on the marble console table. Success isn't what you think it is, I say, meeting each of their eyes in turn. It's not a number on a balance sheet or a headline in Bloomberg. It's building something that matters with people who believe in you when no one else does. The door closes behind me with a soft, definitive click. Outside, the night air feels clean and sharp in my lungs. My phone buzzes again, me team, waiting to pop the champagne we've earned together. I slide into my car and exhale 4 years of accumulated disappointment. Ahead lies the future we built from nothing but belief and sleepless nights. Behind me sits a house full of people who only value what they can measure in dollars. I start the engine and drive toward the people who saw my vision when it was just lines of code on a whiteboard in a rented garage. The ones who never needed a headline to believe. I plug in the secondhand desk lamp, its weak yellow glow barely reaching the corners of our 500 square foot garage. Outside, San Francisco fog presses against the windows like a living thing, obscuring the 3 a.m. darkness. My breath creates small clouds in the unheated space. Try it again, I tell Raj, our CTO. My voice sounds hollow in the concrete box we call headquarters. He taps a series of commands on his keyboard, the blue light from his monitor casting shadows across his exhausted face. 5 other figures hunch over workstations made from doors laid across sawhorses, their faces illuminated by screens. 7 outcasts, including me, united by rejection from the tech establishment. Running test sequence, Raj murmurs. Our whiteboard dominates the back wall, a chaotic constellation of cybersecurity protocols, attack vectors, and defense mechanisms. The math behind our algorithm stares down at us, daunting, promising, maddening in its complexity. We've been at this for 17 days straight. Server response is still timing out. Zoe rubs her eyes, the dark circles beneath them matching mine. The protocol's collapsing under load stress. I drain my 3rd energy drink, ignoring the tremor in my hands. Let's reconfigure the authentication layer. The vulnerability has to be there. Raj's fingers fly across the keys. Madison, maybe we should. No, I cut him off. We're not stopping. Not tonight. What I don't say, my last piece of Jewelry Mom's pearls I'd borrowed and never returned sold yesterday to make this month's payroll. My apartment's eviction notice is folded in my back pocket. We have exactly 8 days of runway left. Behind me, Lee and Priya share a concerned glance. They think I don't notice. My phone buzzes, Andrew again, his 3rd welfare check this week. I silence it without looking, knowing it's not actual concern driving his calls. He's circling, waiting for my failure, collecting evidence for a family intervention. The timer on Raj's screen counts down, 3:46 a.m. Running final sequence, he announces, voice tight. The room falls silent except for the hum of overtaxed laptops and the ancient refrigerator that holds our collective food supplymen, energy drinks, and questionable takeout. The system processes, compiles, executes. 3:47 a.m. Holy shit. Raj stands so abruptly his chair crashes backward. It's holding. I push off from my desk, propelling myself to his station. The terminal displays a cascade of successful authentications under extreme load. The encryption's maintaining integrity, Lai gasps, appearing at my shoulder. Try the malicious packet injection. I order, my heart pounding. Raj's hands are already moving. Deploying now. For 3 minutes, we watch in silence as our system absorbs, identifies, and neutralizes every simulated attack thrown at it. The algorithm isn't just working, it's outperforming anything on the market by an order of magnitude. We did it, I whisper, then louder. We actually fucking did it. Cheers erupt, bodies collide in exhausted hugs. Priya's crying, and Zoe's performing an improvised victory dance on top of her desk. Even stoic Devin cracks a rare smile. I slide down against the wall until I'm sitting on the concrete floor, overwhelmed. For 17 days, we've subsisted on caffeine and determination. For 9 months, we've poured everything into this. 4 words flash across my mind, worth every damn sacrifice. 3 months later, I wake on the office couch, my back protesting years of previous owner's abuse. My apartment is long gone, my car sold, every possession either pawned or stored in my parents' attic without their knowledge. I have exactly 2 outfits left. Both are wrinkled. The shower in our tiny bathroom trickles lukewarm water at best. I brush my teeth with the travel toothbrush that now lives permanently in my laptop bag. Outside, the garage door rattles upward. Devin enters, carrying a box of donuts. Morning, boss. He eyes my makeshift bed. Another night in the executive suite? I stretch, wincing. The ventilation's better than the Ritz. My phone rings government area code. My stomach tightens as I answer, putting it on speaker for Devin to hear. Miss Blake, Lieutenant Colonel Harris, we need to discuss your security protocol demonstration. Devon freezes mid-bite, watching me. Of course, I say, keeping my voice steady despite the adrenaline flood. Was there an issue with our submission? Issue? Number? The voice on the speaker sounds almost amused. The issue is that nobody believes your numbers. Our team says they're impossible. My eyes meet Devin's. We've heard this before from investors, from potential clients, from my brother during his last wellness check when he so subtly suggested I consider psychiatric evaluation. They're accurate, I say. We can demonstrate live. That's why I'm calling. We want you in DC next Tuesday. Can you make that happen? I glance around our garage, the secondhand furniture, the whiteboard where our breakthrough algorithm still sprawls, the cheap coffee maker that's seen us through uncountable all-nighters. We'll be there. After hanging up, Devin stares at me. How are we paying for flights to DC? I smile grimly. Ever maxed out a credit card for something you believed in? The fundamental problem with existing protocols, I explained to the room of uniformed personnel and government cybersecurity specialists, is their reactive architecture. My team stands behind me, unusually professional in borrowed suits and thrift store finds. Raj steps forward, taking over the technical demonstration while I scan the room. The skepticism is palpable. 7 unknowns from a garage claiming revolution. What Ms. Blake has developed, Raj continues, is a predictive defensive matrix that anticipates attack vectors before they're deployed. The lead analyst interrupts. Theoretical models have attempted this for years. The processing requirements make it impossible. I meet his gaze directly. Run your test suite, right now, against our system. The next 47 minutes redefine impossible. When their most sophisticated penetration tools fail against our defenses, the room's energy shifts from skepticism to stunned silence to hungry interest. How soon can you deploy? Lieutenant Colonel Harris asks. I don't hesitate. We're ready now. That night in our hotel room, the whole team crammed into one double to save money. I received the email confirming our first government contract. To Blake Cyber, Zoe toasts with cheap champagne and plastic cups. Raj raises his cup but addresses me directly. Google called again, offered to double their offer. Full team. The room falls silent. Everyone knows Raj's financial situation, his mother's medical bills, his brother's college tuition. What did you tell them? I ask. He clinks his cup against mine, that I already work for the future. I swallow hard, fighting unexpected tears. Christmas Eve, while my family vacations in Aspen, we gather around folding tables in our garage. Devin's partner has strung holiday lights across our whiteboards. Priya's homemade curry steams in mismatched serving bowls. First annual Blake Cyber family dinner. Im announces pouring wine into coffee mugs, the only vessels we have enough of. My phone pings with a notification from First Republic Bank. The contract payment has cleared. Everyone check your accounts, I say quietly. 7 phones emerge. 7 faces register shock as they see their back pay, finally delivered. Merry Christmas, I whisper. As midnight approaches, a call comes in from East Coast Bank's security team. A major attack is underway on their systems. We're implementing your protocol now, their CISO says, voice tight with stress. If this works, we gather around a single monitor, watching as our system engages with the attack in real time. Lines of malicious code appear and vanish, neutralized by our algorithm. It's holding, Raj breathes. By morning, our server load has exploded with inbound requests. Our garage whiteboard, the one where we first cracked the algorithm at 3:47 a.m. after weeks of failure, remains untouched. I've already declared it a sacred artifact. Devin bumps my shoulder gently. Worth it? I think of my sold jewelry, my surrendered apartment, my family's mockery, and the 1,000 small humiliations of the past year. Then I look at our team brilliant outcasts who believed when no one else would in the monitor, showing our system, protecting millions of accounts in real time. Every second, I reply, what would you sacrifice to build something extraordinary? Madison gave up everything, her home, her savings, and her family relationships. Was it worth it? Her next move reveals all. I trace my fingers along the original garage door mounted on the wall of my office. The peeling paint and dented metal serve as a daily reminder of where Blake Cyber began. From a 500 square F oot rental to Thesa Gleaming 50,000 square F oot headquarters in downtown San Francisco. Through the glass walls of my office, I watch my team of 140 employees move with purpose across the innovation lab. Screens flicker with code, whiteboards overflow with diagrams, and the energy pulses with the same intensity we had in that garage, just multiplied exponentially. My office remains modest compared to the stunning innovation lab I insisted on building first. No mahogany desk or crystal decanter sets here. Just clean lines, functional furniture, and a wall of windows that lets me see my vision unfold in real time. My phone buzzes with the 15th voicemail from Mom this week. Madison, darling, the Andersons are having their annual gala next weekend, and everyone's asking about you. They'd love to hear about your little, well, not so little anymore, company. Call me back, sweetheart. I delete it without listening to the rest. My assistant knocks and enters in one smooth motion. Your brother's in the lobby again, third time this week. Tell him I'm in meetings all day. I don't look up from my laptop. He brought flowers. She raises an eyebrow. Donate them to the children's hospital down the street. She nods and retreats, but returns seconds later. Also, your father called 3 board members yesterday. Claimed he wanted to discuss family investment opportunities. I close my eyes briefly. Send an email to the board. Remind them of our non-disclosure agreements and the protocols for unsolicited contact. After she leaves, I open Instagram, where my feed has become a shrine to my family's unwavering support. Mom posted a throwback photo yesterday at my Harvard graduation with a caption about how she always knew Madison would revolutionize the tech industry. Dad shared an article about Blake Cyber with, so proud of my daughter number, proud dad number, always supported her. I switched tabs to the email I've been crafting for 3 days. It's addressed to all 3 of them, Mom, Dad, and Andrew. Every word has been carefully chosen, stripped of emotion yet crystal clear in meaning. I press send before I can reconsider. In the press conference that afternoon, flanked by my executive team, I field the inevitable question about my entrepreneurial journey. Success is never a solo endeavor, I say into the forest of microphones. Blake Cyber exists because of the brilliant team who believed in our vision when we were working out of a garage. I deliberately avoid mentioning family support and omission that speaks volumes to those listening closely. After the cameras stop rolling, I announce our new initiative, a $10 million fund for women entrepreneurs from toxic environments. The Blake Cyber Resilience Grant will provide not just capital, but mentorship and resources to women whose innovation is undervalued by those closest to them. The news spreads faster than I anticipated. Within days, Andrew's financial practice begins hemorrhaging clients. 2 call me directly, asking if Blake Cyber would consider their investment portfolios. I can recommend several excellent firms, I tell them, but my brother's isn't one of them. At the country club where my parents have been members for 30 years, subtle shifts occur. Invitations to exclusive events mysteriously stop arriving. Their carefully cultivated social ecosystem shows the first cracks of instability. My authentic success exposes the hollowness of their status-seeking existence. Their facade built on appearances and connections buckles under the weight of reality. The reconciliation attempts begin on a Tuesday. Mom appears at our reception desk, eyes red-rimmed, clutching her designer handbag like a shield. Please, I just want 5 minutes with my daughter. The security footage shows my receptionist handling her with professionalism. Miss Blake is unavailable. I'd be happy to pass along a message. Dad takes a different approach, a typed letter left with my assistant. I scan its contents, formal language, carefully worded apologies, and strategic mentions of family legacy. It reads like a business proposal rather than a father's remorse. Andrew's email arrives last. Subject line: family healing. Maddie, we've all made mistakes. It's time to put aside differences and come together as a family again. Some wounds run deep, but blood is thicker than water. I forward all 3 messages to my executive team with a simple question. Thoughts? Their responses vary from cautious to protective. My CTO, who once slept on the garage floor beside me when we couldn't make rent, is the most direct. They want access, not reconciliation. I stare at the original whiteboard we salvaged from the garage, now mounted alongside the door. The faded marker still shows our first algorithm, the one everyone said wouldn't work. If your family who mocked your dreams suddenly wanted access to your success, would you let them back in? What boundaries would you set? I'm still deciding. I arrive at Mabel's diner 20 minutes early. The vinyl booth squeaks as I slide in, the worn table wobbling when I rest my elbows on it. Definitely not the Ritz, Carlton's restaurant where my parents suggested meeting. But neutral ground was non-negotiable. Alexis, my CFO, sits across from me, reviewing notes on her tablet. Her presence isn't just for moral support, she's my witness. They're here, she murmurs, glancing toward the entrance. I don't turn around immediately. Instead, I take a slow sip of water, steadying my breath. When I finally look up, I almost laugh at the absurdity. My father stands awkwardly in the entrance, his Italian leather shoes and tailored suit ridiculously out of place against the diner's checkerboard floor. Mom clutches her Hermes bag against her chest like it might catch something contagious. Andrew scans the room with barely concealed disdain, wiping his hand against his pant leg after touching the door. The hostess leads them through the lunch crowd, nurses ending night shifts, construction workers on break, and tech employees seeking authentic, greasy spoons. My family looks like penguins waddling through a flock of sparrows. Madison. Dad extends his hand formally, as if we're concluding a business meeting. I shake it briefly before they settle into the booth, the leather creaking under their collective discomfort. Alexis introduces herself with professional precision. Alexis Chen, Chief Financial Officer at Blake Cyber. Mom's eyebrows raise a fraction. She didn't expect witnesses. The visual power shift is immediate. In their territory, the country club. Dad's office. Their Beacon Hill home, they tower over me. Here, surrounded by everyday people rather than fawning waitstaff, they shrink. The waitress slides menus in front of us. My parents study them like they're deciphering ancient hieroglyphs. Just coffee, Andrew tells her without looking up. Black. Once she's gone, Dad clears his throat and launches into what can only be a rehearsed speech. His eyes occasionally drift to his Rolex diming himself, probably. Madison, family is about legacy. The Blake name has stood for excellence for 3 generations. His voice carries the same practiced conviction he uses in boardrooms. We've always supported each other's endeavors, and now that you've found success, it's time to reintegrate you into the family's collective vision. I notice he doesn't apologize. Not once. Mom reaches across the table, her manicured hand stopping just short of touching mine. We always believed in you, sweetheart. Always. Even when we understand your methods. The blatant lie hangs between us. I don't grab it. Andrew leans forward, sliding a business card across the sticky tabletop. I've drafted a proposal for family investment coordination. Now that you've attracted significant capital, we should align our financial strategies. I can bring considerable value to Blake Cyber's growth plans. I pick up his card, examining the embossed lettering before slipping it into my pocket. Interesting. Is this the same value you brought when you told the Winthrop Group to avoid my sister's doomed little hobby? His face freezes, the practiced smile faltering. Mom jumps in. We've been so proud telling everyone about your success. The Harrisons were just saying how we always knew your computer thing would take off. Computer thing, I repeat flatly. You mean the cybersecurity firm that you've been claiming to have funded? Dad shifts uncomfortably. We've simply been supporting you the way family should. Emotionally. I open my laptop and turn it so they can see the screen. Let's review what emotional support looks like, shall we? I click through a folder methodically labeled Family Communications. 2020 to 2024. Email screenshots, text message exports, voicemail transcriptions. Dad's email to his investment group. My daughter has unfortunately been caught up in Silicon Valley fever. Would advise avoiding any connection until she comes to her senses. Mom's text to her sister. So embarrassing. Madison's living like a college student again, playing with computers in some garage. We don't bring it up at the club anymore. Andrew's message to our cousin. Had to stage basically an intervention. She won't listen to reason. Throwing away a perfectly good career to chase this startup fantasy. With each click, their faces grow paler. I continue in a calm, even voice. For any relationship with me moving forward, I have non-negotiable terms. I count them off on my fingers. 1. Complete honesty. No more pretending you supported me when you didn't. 2. Business and family remain separate permanently. I will never mix Blake Cyber with Blake family finances. 3. Family therapy if you want any meaningful contact. 4. Public acknowledgement of how you actually treated me during the startup phase. Mom's face crumples. That's humiliating. So was hearing you tell Mrs. Parker I was having a sad little breakdown when I mortgaged my condo to make payroll. Dad's mask finally slips. His face reddens as he slams his palm against the table, rattling the silverware. This is absurd. We gave you everything. The best schools, the connections, the proper upbringing, and this is your gratitude? Some manufactured victim narrative? You're still the same stubborn, ungrateful child who... He catches himself, but too late. Mom's tears flow freely now. Not the strategic kind she usually deploys at country club disputes, but genuine mascara-smearing drops. Andrew's face twists with something ugly and honest. You got lucky. 1 government contract. 1. And suddenly you're too good for the family that... That what? I stand, gathering my things calmly. That tried to sabotage me? That laughed at me? That waited until I was worth something to decide I mattered? Alexis stands with me, placing cash on the table for our untouched coffees. I didn't come for a fight, I say, keeping my voice low. I came to establish whether there's any relationship worth salvaging. The ball's in your court. Dad's facade cracks completely. You ungrateful. He cuts himself off, but his expression reveals everything he's been hiding. The resentment, the anger that I succeeded without him. The realization that he's lost control. Mom's tears aren't strategic now. They fall freely, smudging her carefully applied makeup. For the first time, I glimpsed genuine regret beneath her social mask. Andrew's professional veneer dissolves entirely. This is about me, isn't it? You're punishing us because Dad always favored me. Well, guess what? I earned it. I played by the rules while I built something that matters, I finished for him. And no, Andrew, this isn't about you. It never was. As I walk away, I hear my mother's muffled sob and my father's harsh whisper. Pull yourself together, Margaret. Outside, the California sun feels cleansing. Alexis glances at me. You okay? I take a deep breath. I'm not sure, but I'm free. The weight of expectation of trying to earn love I shouldn't have had to earn slides off my shoulders as we walk toward the car. Behind us, the diner door remains closed. No one follows. Would I have given them a second chance if they'd shown genuine remorse? Maybe. But as I slide into the driver's seat, I realize the ball is truly in their court now. True reconciliation might be possible, but only if they can face what they've done. I stand by the floor-to-ceiling window of Blake Cyber's expanded headquarters, hands clasped behind my back, watching San Francisco's skyline glitter against the evening sky. The reflection in the glass shows a woman I'm still getting used to Madison Blake, CEO of a $1.2 billion company. Behind me, 20 women huddle around workstations in our incubator space. Their voices rise and fall with the passion of dreamers unafraid to build. One woman, Zara, barely 23, gestures wildly as she explains her encryption protocol. Two other founders lean forward, captivated. That's exactly what the banking sector needs, I tell her, crossing the room. The hardwood floors I insisted on no cold marble or sterile tile creak slightly underfoot. Have you considered how it would scale across international borders? Her eyes widen. I didn't think that far ahead. Always think global from day one. I rest my hand on her shoulder. Even from a garage. She glances at the preserved garage door mounted on her main wall, the peeling paint and dents like battle scars. Beside it hangs a simple frame containing a single dollar biller first revenue taped to a coffee-stained napkin, where I'd scribbled our original mission statement. I catch my reflection again. The circles under my eyes have faded, though the intensity in them hasn't. Dr. Sharma had called it progress during yesterday's therapy session. You're allowing yourself to rest without guilt, she'd observed, her voice gentle but direct. That's significant growth, Madison. 12 months of weekly sessions have slowly untangled the knots inside me, the desperate need to prove myself, the fear of vulnerability, the crushing weight of perfectionism born from never being enough for the people who should have loved me unconditionally. My phone vibrates. A text from Jin, my CTO. Cake's here. We're ready when you are. I smile, a genuine one that reaches my eyes. This never happened in the boardrooms of my past. The conference room buzzes with hushed excitement when I enter. My chosen family, the original 7, who believed enough to work out of that garage, have transformed the space with streamers and a lopsided cake. Happy birthday, mad scientist. The frosting declares, using the nickname they gave me during our first all-nighter. Don't you all have work to do? I ask. But there's no edge to my words. Amara, our head of security, wraps me in a fierce hug. 35 looks good on you, boss. Later, as I blow out candles, I think about my mother's hesitant voice on the phone last week. The therapist says I need to acknowledge my role in your pain, she'd said, the words clearly rehearsed but meaningful. I'm trying to understand, Madison. Small steps. Genuine ones. Dad hasn't called in 6 months. After Bloomberg featured me on their cover, he'd sent a terse email. Congratulations on your success despite our misgivings. Not an apology, but an acknowledgement. I haven't responded. Andrew's competing venture folded last quarter. His passion was never technology, only the prospect of wealth. The market recognized the difference. Speech, Jin demands, pulling me back to the present. I shake my head but stand anyway. 4 years ago, I sat at a dining table being told what I built didn't matter. I look around at faces lit with warmth, not judgment. This is what a real family dinner looks like. The room erupts in applause. Amara raises her glass. To chosen family. I mention Mom's therapy progress. The team nods, understanding that healing doesn't mean forgetting. Some relationships will never fully recover, and I've made peace with that reality. Later that night, I walk through the empty office. My footsteps echo as I approach the mounted garage door. I press my palm against its rough surface, feeling the contrast between where we started and where we are. The reflection in the window captures both versions of me simultaneously, the desperate entrepreneur sleeping on a couch between coding sessions and the CEO whose security protocol protects millions of users worldwide. My foundation for first-generation entrepreneurs launches next week. My TED Talk on redefining success beyond family expectations has already racked up 2 million views. I trace the outline of that old garage door with my fingertips. I'm Madison Blake. I whisper to the empty room, and I build things that matter.